Hi, I'm Izzy, and this is Dizzy Quilts and Sews. In today's video, I have another mug rug tutorial for you. So it is spring where I am, and the weather is getting a lot warmer. The sun is shining a lot hotter, and tulips and daffodils will be up very, very soon because I can kind of see them coming up this much. So I thought the spring tutorial or the April tutorial would be a new mug rug that you can have on your desk or on your table or wherever you have your mug rugs to celebrate the spring and the fact that the tulips are going to be up very, very soon if they're not already in your region. Where I am, pretty north, they're going to come out later this month. Sometimes they even come up early May. All right, so what you'll need to put together this cute little mug rug, scraps, so don't think you need to cut into yardage for this. Have a tiny little bit of a yellow fabric for the flower, some pink fabric, and you can choose 2 or even 3 different shades of the same color, which would give your flower some more dimension. In the version that I make with you, you'll see that I'm using 2 different fabric for my flower. You'll need some green for our leaves, and then a background fabric, and that can be anything you want it to be. You'll need some binding, so a piece that's at least 30 to 35 inches long, 2.5 inches wide. And then you'll need some backing fabric. I use scraps from pouches I made at Christmas time. So our mug rug finishes at about 6 by 7 inches. So your backing fabric just needs to be a tiny bit bigger than that. And of course, you'll need a piece of batting that is a bit bigger than your top and about the same size as your backing. So are you ready to make another mug rug? If yes, let's go to the cutting table. All right, so I'm done with all of my cutting. So here's what you'll need. Now, like I always do, I'm going to put all of the cutting instructions in the description box below. So make sure you have a look at that. But here's what I have. So I have my 1.5 inch square of the yellow fabric. I have a 2.5 inch square of one pink fabric. I have a 3-inch square of another pink, as well as a green 3-inch square. I've got all of my background pieces. So a 1.5 inch square, 1.5 by 2.5 inch rectangle. I've got 2 3-inch squares. I've got 3 2.5 inch squares. I've got 1 strip that's at least 6 inches by 1.5. And I left it long on purpose. I'm going to trim it to exactly the length I need once my top is finished. I've got my backing fabric. I've got my piece of batting. And I've got my 2.5 inch strips for the binding. So this is all you need to put together your little mug rug. So next we are going to learn how to make half square triangles. All right, so here's the finished quilt. So I just want to show you what piecing we're going to be doing. So we're going to piece 3 rows first. So we're going to piece 2.5 inch blocks, 9 of them, that we're then going to sew together like we would a 9-patch block. Now these 2 and these 2 are made using 3-inch squares that we then turn into half square triangles and then trim to 2.5 inch squares. So let's make those first. So you're going to need your 3-inch green square. You're going to need your 3-inch pink square. And you're going to need 2 background 3-inch squares. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your background, grab a pencil or a pen or some kind of marking instrument. It doesn't need to be removable because that'll be hidden in the seams anyways. Nobody's going to see it. And you're going to mark a line corner to corner on the back of your background piece. So my piece is a solid, so it doesn't really matter which is which. They're both the same. But if you're using a print that has a right and wrong side, make sure that you're marking the wrong side of your 3-inch background pieces. All right, so I marked a line. Hopefully you can see this line right down the middle from one corner to the other. Next, you're going to put your background square on top of your print, right sides together, making sure they're nicely aligned. And do the same thing. You should probably press your fabric. Don't do like I do. Just lay them right sides together. And now what you're going to do is you're going to stitch 1/4 inch away from the line you marked on both sides. So you're going to take this to the sewing machine, stitch 1/4 inch away from this, from the center line, and then again 1/4 inch away on the other side. All right, so you're going to start and do one side, take it off the machine, turn it around, do the other side. Do that to both of your squares, and then we'll come back here to do our pressing and trimming. All right, so here's where you should be now. So you've got, okay, let me center this properly. You've got a seam right here, and you've got a seam right here, and you've got your marked line between the two. Now what you're going to do is take your rotary cutter and cut right on your marked line. So you end up with two pieces like this. All right, so again, I'm cutting on the marked line. All right, now you're going to take this to your pressing station and press these open. I like to press the seam towards the darker fabric, so I'm going to press towards my green and my pink fabric here. All right, so I'm going to go press these open and come back and show you how we trim them. All right, here we go. So now I've pressed my 2 green half square triangle, and I've pressed my pink half square triangles. Now what we need to do is trim those so they measure exactly 2.5 inches. So let me show you how we do that. So I'm going to use my 5.5 inch square ruler to do that. So, and I'm going to put my 45-degree angle line right here. I'm going to put that on the seam exactly and make sure that the 2.5 inch measurement here is inside my block. And then trim 2 of the sides. Next, I'm going to flip it and then measure 2.5, making sure my 45-degree angle is still right there on my seam line. And there you go. I have a beautiful 2.5 inch half square triangle that I can piece into my little mug rug. So now you're going to do that to the other 3, and then we're going to piece our little mug rug together. All right, so we're ready to start piecing our 9-patch block, but first we need to piece this little block over here. So you're going to take your 1.5 inch yellow square, your 1.5 inch background square, and your 1.5 by 2.5 rectangle, and you're going to piece the 3 of those together to make this little square right here. So start with your background in yellow, piece those at 1/4 inch, press it open, and then attach this rectangle to the pieced rectangle down here. Let's put our puzzle together now. So we've got our little square over here with the yellow piece of the flower. Next, we've got 2 half square triangles like this and like this. a 2.5-inch square to finish off our flower. The background squares over here, our leaves over here, and then finally a background square. And we've got our 9 patch all ready to piece together. So what you need to do is just attach the first 2 blocks like this, right sides together, with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Remember, an exact 1/4 inch seam allowance. So attach these 2 and then attach this one to end your row. Do this to all 3 rows. And then you're going to attach all 3 rows together. So go ahead and do that. And then I'll show you how to finish off your little top. All right, here we go. I've got my 9 patch all pieced. The last thing we need to do to this top is just attach our 1.5 strip. So mine's a little bit longer than the top, as you can see. So I'm just going to line it up here and stitch it at a 1/4 inch, and then I'll trim the excess fabric. There we go. So now I'm going to take my ruler and my rotary cutter and just trim the little bit that's sticking out. There we go. All right, so now let's put this one aside. I'm going to take my backing fabric, put it right side down, right? I'm going to take my piece of batting, which is huge. I probably could have gone a little bit smaller, but, and then my finished mug rug is going to go on top, and I'm trying to center it on my backing fabric, which I'm not sure you can see on camera, but I can see through the batting where my backing fabric is. So I'm just trying to center my mug rug onto that. And there we go. Now I'm ready to go and quilt this. But before I do that, I'm going to go and make some binding with this. I've got my binding. So I joined my 2 strips at a 45-degree angle, pressed that open, and then pressed wrong sides together the whole long strip so that I have my binding ready once my little mug rug is all quilted. So the sample I made, I quilted with a free motion foot. And I basically quilted little flowers. So I'm going to do the same thing. You obviously can quilt yours any way you like. So you can make straight lines. You can make wavy lines with a walking foot. Or you can just, if you have one, you can put your free motion foot on there and just doodle and have fun. All right, I'm going to go off and quilt this and come back when I'm done. All right, there we go. So my little mug rug is all quilted. I've squared it up, which basically means I've trimmed the excess backing and batting, and make sure that my mug rug has perfect 90-degree angles at the corners. It'll be that much easier to put your binding on. So now grab your binding, and the way I do it is I sew it to the front all around, then press it to the back and sew it to the back by catching it from the front, stitching in the ditch. So I'm going to go and do that and then show you my finished little mug rug. Well, there you go. A cute little spring mug rug. So you can see where the 2 different pinks are. Here's my backing fabric. I'm loving this little guitar girl. All done. And like I said, it measures about 6 inches by 7 inches. All right, so one for me, one for my daughter. I'm loving this. So this is going straight onto my desk where I work every day. As always, if you have any questions about any of the steps or about the cutting instructions that I'm going to leave in the description box, please be sure to leave me a comment down below or send me an email. My email address is also in the description box. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please find my Ko-fi account link down below. You can buy me a coffee if you'd like. Also, I would love it if you took a picture of your mug rug, if you make one, and post it to Instagram and tag me on there. All right, well, thank you so much for stopping by. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up on your way out and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks again, and I will see you soon.